succession de titres plus réussis les uns que les autres, la série NBA de 2K a littéralement éradiqué toute forme de concurrence et se positionne aujourd'hui comme la seule et unique simulation de basketball. Une situation de monopole qui, plutôt que de ramollir les équipes de 2K, les pousse à proposer d'année en année une expérience toujours plus authentique et plus poussée. Et c'est à l'occasion de la présentation de leur dernier titre, NBA 2K12, que nous avons pu poser nos questions au producteur Eric Bellich. À commencer par les nouvelles features de cet épisode.
The first feature from NBA 2K12 that really sets it apart from last year's game is the addition of the NBA's greatest feature. This feature contains what we think are 15 of the greatest and most influential players in NBA history. And what it does is it allows you to play games throughout this player's career. So for example, I can play as Bill Russell, one of the greatest defenders of all time. And I could use his 1965 Celtics to take on the 65 Lakers, with Jerry West in there. So it really gives you a chance to kind of jump into history and play, these old style games that kind of defined, the history of the NBA and where it came from and where it is today. And one of the key aspects of these games is you're playing with it, with the rules for the year that game was played in, and ultimately the presentation revolves all around it as well. Choosing the 15 players for the NBA's greatest was a big challenge for us. Some of the players were very easy. There's really no argument when it comes to guys like Michael Jordan and Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. But when you start getting to the end of the list, there was a lot of fighting on, Isaiah Thomas and Patrick Ewing and John Stockton, and people thought, this guy should be in over him or that guy should be in. At the end of the day, we all came together and agreed upon this final list of 15 that we have, and we think it's the best possible list to put together. And ultimately, we think we gave fans, exactly what they wanted.
En plus de proposer un casting complètement dingue, pour peu que l'on soit amateur de basketball, NBA 2K12 mise également sur la présentation, toujours dans cet esprit d'authenticité.
Upgrading the presentation within NBA 2K12 was a very, very big focus for us. Right from the time you put in the disc to anytime you turn it off, you're going to notice that the game is constantly giving you television quality broadcasts. You're going to see, prior to games, you're going to see what we call dynamic intros, where players are going to be, celebrating and doing high fives and basically doing high energy activities to get the player hyped for the game. And we kind of created all of these new aspects by bringing in, network talent from other TV stations across, the United States who have worked on NBA basketball games. And it really gave us, our development team, a very professional perspective on how to properly, deliver graphics onto a screen during an NBA broadcast. And that comes, from the start of the game to the tip-off to timeouts to when the camera pulls out to when to zoom in on players. It really made a night and day difference when you play this game over last year, just on the presentation side alone.
Cela fait maintenant quelques temps que la grève des joueurs sévit au sein de la Ligue, le tout pour une histoire de salaire. On pourrait alors croire que ce mouvement a affecté d'une manière ou d'une autre le développement de 2K12.
It actually didn't. The strike did not affect our development process at all. While the NBA may be on a lockout for a very short period of time, NBA 2K is not. So when you play our game, you have access to all 30 teams. Every player in the league has been updated and brought to their current version. And we also have this NBA's greatest feature that I talked about. It's kind of like getting two games in one. We have the full NBA, but we also have these 34 classic teams from NBA's yesterday and their past, to kind of give you that holdover until the NBA is ready to play. So we really feel like we put together a package that, is lockout proof and really gives our fans something to do before and after the season starts.
La grève ne semble donc pas inquiéter outre mesure 2K. Mais le développement n'a pas été de tout repos pour autant, les défis à relever pour rester au top de la simulation de basketball étant plutôt nombreux.
There were a couple different really challenging ones. The first one is getting everything done. With the addition of these 34 classic teams, we really, were put under the gun to get, all these player heads delivered in time and get these players' signature styles and signature shots to play exactly like they did, when they played in their careers. And beyond that, we have other new systems in the game, like we have a new dynamic collision system in the game. And what this feature is anytime two players collide, the results of that collision is going to be based on, real-time physics, such as the direction the player came in from, the height of the player, the weight of the player, the weight of the player getting hit. Anytime you see a collision, that result is organically created, and the result is just output right then. In previous years of NBA 2K, we had what we called two-player animations, where two players would collide, and the animation was captured in that regard, so the result was always the same. So if you had, a little tiny 5-foot guy hit a 7-foot guy, the player would fall over exactly the same. And it makes no sense because player height and size obviously matters when people collide. Bigger people usually win. So this system really gave us a chance to emulate that real-time physics of NBA players, because it is an aggressive sport and it's very physical, and we really wanted to capture that for our fans.
Concurrencée à ses débuts, la série de Touquet est désormais l'unique représentante d'un sport ultra populaire aux États-Unis. Une situation que nous explique Eric.
Well, one thing regarding NBA simulation basketball is our game has gotten so big and so popular that all the people who purchase other games have kind of flocked to the NBA 2K series, which has pushed other games actually out of the market. Sony's game is no longer in development, so for a time it was just us and the NBA Live series. But NBA Live encountered a rough patch. All their fans jumped to 2K, so NBA Live is also out of the picture as well. So we're currently the only simulation basketball game on the market, and I think that's due to the amount of authenticity we put in our game. We have a singular goal that we never change, we never stray from. I think a lot of companies are constantly changing their target. One year they want to be simulation, the next year they want to be mass market, the next year they want to be hardcore, and just going back and forth really damages your product. And I think the fact that we have such good management that understands that what our fans want, which is they want a great game of basketball, and we never lose focus from that. And I think it speaks volumes to our final product, which is complete authenticity and the best playing basketball game ever made. And I think that sheer level of focus is what helps drive our game to the success that it is, received.
On a maintenant hâte d'avoir la bête en main, histoire de vous en faire une critique dans les normes en vigueur. Et en attendant, on vous laisse avec un des derniers trailers de NBA 2K12 intitulé Momentous, une véritable leçon de montage.
Catch me in my Mercedes, bumping ice, baby, screaming shady till I die. Like I have a paradise, life's crazy, so I live it to the fullest till I'm Swayze, and you only live it once. So I'm thinking about this nice lady. Wait, don't stop me now before I get on a roll. Let me tell you what this pretty little dame's name is, cause she's kinda famous, and I hope that I don't sound too heinous when I say this. You morons think that I'm a genius, really I belong inside a dang insane asylum. Can't draw them trailer parks crazy, I am back and I am razor sharp, baby, in this back with a capital B with an exclamation mark. Maybe you should listen when I flip the linguistics, cause I wanna rip this mystical. You don't wanna become another victim of statistics.
Living life in the fast lane, moving at the speed of life and I can't slow down. Only got a gallon in the gas tank, but I'm almost at the finish line, so I can't stop now. I don't really know where I'm headed, just enjoying the ride. Let them go till I drop and ride till I die. I'm living life in the fast lane, pedal to the metal. Life in the fast lane, pedal to the metal.
Yeah, my whole goal as a poet's to be relaxed in orbit. My slow flow is euphoric, it's like I rap endorphin. Go back and forth it, more beef than you can pack a fork in. I'm living the life of the infinite enemy down. My tenement chimney now, the semi-serenity pal. Spin them around, entering in the vicinity.
Now I was calling him in, but he threw away the candy and ate the rap. I chewed him up and spitted him out. Gawkity up, now get. Looking around this club and it looks like people are having a shit now. Yeah, little trailer trash, take a look who's back into the town.
After taking that, I'ma catch you. This gon' be fascinating. This gon' say the whole rap ain't the way on top of the affidavit. Graduated from master debater, meaning I'm on fire off the top. Might wanna back up the data. Rolling over hip hop in a verbal tractor trailer. Homie, they sick. You can normally ask a hater. Don't it make sense? It's just like a bag dropped in the lap of a tax evader. Homie, they spin.
And I make that drop like a sack of potatoes. What girl on the cracker later? Tell you that you just struck paid. You're rolling with a player. You won't be exaggerating when you say you're living
life in the fast lane, moving at the speed of life and I can't slow down.